We're here with Coach Woodson on the eve of spring practice here at Florida State. Also a big recruiting day on Saturday. And Coach, I was wondering, maybe the last time that you can talk about this, but the fall, as you see it now, you've gotten far enough away to kind of take it all in. How do you think the fall went? What was the turning point for you, and what did you see as the months wore on in the season?
Yeah, well, obviously we got off to a pretty rough start, but the main thing is the guys continued to show up and work, and you know, it was big once we got that first win. We went on a winning streak there, and we finished strong throughout the course of the year. Had a couple of close losses at the end, but you saw the guys take strides and grow. We matured as a team. We matured as a group of DBs, and you know, just to continue to see them develop this offseason is going to be critical. And there was a lot of lessons learned throughout the fall, not just this past fall, but the last 2 years. And you see those lessons starting to be applied now. So, you know, hopefully we continue to develop, get better, have a great spring, and apply the lessons that's been learned this fall to have a successful season.
As a position coach, you demand consistency and effort every day. Even though you make one play, that doesn't mean that you're excused from loafing or something on another time. Did you see that during the season? Did you see that turn and maybe some of the guys that you were challenging step up and respond to that?
Yeah, I did. I saw them become more consistent, not just play in and play out, but day in and day out in terms of throughout the week to prepare for Saturday. And that's the main thing for us, you know, as a group, is just showing up each and every day, having the right mindset to come to work, be detailed with our work, and go out and execute each and every day, which will lead to being consistent, play in and play out.
Who would you say was the quarterback of your defensive backcourt by the end of the season and then coming into spring?
Yeah, good question. It became more of Jamie Robinson, but not good enough. We're still looking to develop that leader, that quarterback on the back end that's going to communicate and make sure all 11 guys are on the same page. It became more of him, but it got to become we and us, not just a specific person. It's a collective deal whenever you communicate, whether if that's verbally or non-verbally. We got to be on the same page so we can execute. But I am challenging Jamie. I want to see Akeem Dent also take that next step as well. So I'm just excited to see the steps that they take and the strides that we make throughout the spring.
Did Akeem take a step during the regular season? Because at least from our perspective, it looked like he did.
Absolutely, he did. You know, Akeem, he hit a COVID period there throughout the fall. And once he got back from that, he was different in a good way. He was more bright-eyed on a day-to-day basis, just showed up, ready to go to work. And he just got to continue to pick up where he left off in the fall and improve based on where he left off in the fall as well.
You said that Kevin Noles, before last spring, said he was made to be in the nickel position for you guys. Is that still something for this spring and the fall moving forward, or might he move outside and play outside for you?
A little bit of both. You know, Kevin is a kid with a skill set that can play outside and inside. It will be primarily on the inside, but also have a role on the outside as well. You know, we added some personnel with Greedy Vance, and you know, so his addition will help us be able to have some more flexibility with Kevin. And I'm just excited to continuing to see his growth.
And then Amari Cooper, obviously, was somebody that you had talked about even last spring. But to us, it became apparent that he could really play. Is he somebody that you know see being a fixture on the outside this season?
Absolutely. You know, with the success that he had as a true freshman last year, with the experience he was able to gain, you can see it carrying over now into the spring. He's a kid now that's more confident. You know, last year he was kind of searching for where he was going to fit within the team. Now he understands his role. He understands what we're doing schematically better, which will allow for him to play faster. And the main thing for him is being consistent, play in and play out with his technique. He's at his best when he plays with sound technique. And once he does that, he's going to be a phenomenal player.
You bring back almost everyone from the position group from last year, bring back a ton of guys who played, and add a few pieces that you talked about. I guess how much of a head start does that give you coming into the spring in terms of all you're able to work on?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we are an experienced group at this point. You know, so day one this spring can be more advanced than day one last spring. You know, so with that, it's a lot of we keeping everything the same as far as what we've done and who we are, and they got a really good understanding of that now. Just having that understanding of a big picture is going to allow for us to play faster, communicate better, and just execute better, essentially.
You mentioned, you mentioned Jamie Robinson earlier, kind of taking the next step. I guess what specifically are you looking for him to kind of become the leader, the figurehead of the secondary?
Well, just, again, I was always taught coming up that on good teams, they're coach-led. When you become great, it's player-led. And just getting him to understand that taking the role of becoming a leader is going to help us, because the more team success and group success that we have, the more individual accolades get elevated. So for him, he understands at this point that he had a critical decision to make. He came back when he had some advice and thought about going to the next level and entering the draft, but he came back. And Jamie understands right now that the better the group performs, the higher his value is going to be. So he's really taking charge in terms of, look, man, let's really come together collectively. It's about being together, and that's what you want to see the players do. And someone has to become the guy that glues them together. And I see him taking those steps to become more of that guy. So, just for him, he made a huge sacrifice to come back. Now it's time to go out and really show why you came back, and he understands that his teammates play a big part of that.
When we were at tour duty the other day, we saw Renardo Green in the black jersey. That's a good sign. What would the last couple of years been like for him, dealing with the injuries? And are things kind of turning around?
Yeah, it's been a lot of bumps in the road for Renardo, but he learned through those bumps in the road. We learned through those bumps in the road, and now you can see a more mature Renardo. He's back healthy. And you can see it in his movements. You can see it in his confidence. And he's more consistent with showing up every day now, just with his head down, going to work. And I expect for Renardo to have a huge season for us this upcoming year.
Are you guys looking at him as a safety, as a corner? I know he's played both in his career.
Right now in the spring, we're going to look to have him on the outside a little bit more, but he always has the ability to move to different positions if we ever need it. He's a versatile guy. He can play either position, but right now we're going to have him at corner. Yes, sir.
This is a tough position for us to break down in the media, Coach, because there's so many names and so many capable players. Yeah. That's got to be something that you've been dreaming of, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You want depth, and you want competition. And competition brings out the best in all of us. So to have depth now going into the spring, which we didn't have last year, is definitely rewarding as a coach for sure. You want to see the guys go out and compete. At some point, this is a violent game. Somebody, unfortunately, will go down, and it'll be a next man up mentality. And who's ever performing at the highest level are going to be the guys that take the field for Florida State. And I'm excited to see the competition that we have this spring.
A couple more veterans, Jerrion and Jarvis Brownlee. How has their offseason been, and what do you expect from them moving forward?
Well, they've been really consistent with the work. I'm expecting for them to take that next step just in the production of everything that they do. And they're starting to understand that the production is going to come from the way that they perform day in and day out with preparation. So I'm anxious to see the competitive side throughout the course of the spring. And even for those two guys, I'm challenging them as well to take that next step from a leadership standpoint. As you can see, leadership amongst the group is something that's being emphasized, and I want to continue to see them too take that next step as well.
The fan base is excited about the freshmen, Larry, Thomas, and Samuel Cole. I guess early on for a duty, what is the season, and I guess what are the expectations you're putting on them entering the spring?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, man, the transition for both of those guys have really been smooth. Zaria is obviously coming from a successful program. He was a phenomenal player at Niceville, and you can see it transitioning right now here to Florida State. He's a kid that's very reliable. He stays ahead of his schoolwork. He understands how he does anything is how he does everything. And I'm excited for him. Sam has transitioned really well. And also, he's come to work and been really consistent with that. He's exceeded expectations in terms of that, and I'm excited about the future with both of those guys.
One guy we saw, last question for me, from fall camp last year was Shaheem Brown was around the football a lot. Yeah. What do you expect out of him moving forward?
Yeah, that is the wild card in the secondary. His movement movements, his strength. You can really see that Coach Storms and his staff have done a phenomenal job with Shaheem. It's all about executing and being able to communicate, but he's the one that I'm the most anxious to see the performance throughout the course of the spring. And he's the one that we really need to step into the lineup and become a guy. You know, I'm challenging him to become that guy that he's capable of becoming. And so far this spring, he's off to a really good start.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.